Itchi the Killer, one of the grossingly disturbing films I've seen. No one does it like the Japanese. Released in 2001 and has a runtime of 2 hours and 9 minutes filled with scenes I wanted to look away from, but couldn't. It might be messed up to say I honestly enjoyed watching Itchi, but mainly for the kills. There's a lot that is hard to watch, and that's saying a lot since the kills are very, very grotesque. Right away, we are memorized by this crazy cool editing style that movies lack, and starts us out in the middle of what looks like a mob meeting, and that's basically what it is. The bodyguard asks for reassurance that everything is alright, and that he doesn't need to be on watch. The other guy explains that the boss is just in the other room with a girl, and he doesn't need a bodyguard. We cut to the boss and the girl in the other apartment. Here it gets pretty intense fast, so just another disclaimer, this movie is real messed up. The boss is beating this girl to a pulp. She's all covered in blood and is begging for mercy, leading him to rape her. The boss stops after he hears a noise made by a man watching from the outside. He goes outside to catch him, but the man had run off, leaving what we can only guess to be semen on the floor plan, and the title card rising from it. Not even 5 minutes into this movie, and I already need to take a step back. I wish I could say it gets better from here, but not really. Cut to a couple of guys in a truck, and they talk about how Itchi is taking care of everything. They get a call and head out to clean up the aftermath. Transition to our main character, which is oddly not Itchi, but Kakihara, who is a part of the gang we saw in the beginning. Kakihara is looking around the room where Itchi horrendously killed. The gang goes to a club, and Kakihara talks to a girl sitting at a table and explains that their boss has gone missing, and that it might be the works of another gang. Kakihara spots a man at the other table and goes over to ask for information on the murder that happened at his place. Cut to a waiter that seems real sad and weak, and is even being mistreated by the workers. Things are hectic for the gang since their boss went missing. The man from the other night comes to talk to them. They chat, and someone named Suski is talked about, so they decide to kidnap him to question him about their missing boss. Kakihara pierced hooks throughout his body and is hanging from them. It looks pretty cool. They proceed to ask him what he knows, and of course, he swears he doesn't know anything about where the boss is or what happened to him. Aggravated, Kakihara grabs the pan of boiling oil and pours it on his back, while everyone watches in shock. Kakihara is somewhat a sadist and a masochist. Considering the way he looks, and later in the movie cutting his own tongue off, it's safe to say you don't want to mess with this guy. Also makes you wonder, how can Itchi be possibly worse? One thing I do want to note is his style is pretty cool. I mean, this whole movie is really pleasant to look at. All the costume designs and even the editing style, and also like just the aesthetic of it all. It's really cool. So that's really one thing I liked about this movie. She wishes... Sorry about that. Anyway, we see the same waiter guy in the club talking to the girl who the boss was beating up in the beginning. She wishes he would die, and he makes the sweet offer to take him out. During a gang sit-down, Kakihara cuts his own tongue off to pay his pence, whatever that means, then just leaves to look for the boss. He meets up with the girl from the club, Karen, but they get called back because they found a guy who might know what happened to the boss. He tells them Itchi killed him. Finally, we see what really happened to the boss and who Itchi is. Surprise, surprise, it's the waiter guy. He stands outside watching him sexually assaulting the girl and gets flashbacks of him watching another girl being attacked by his bullies. And in the flashback, he gets aroused. Itchi opens the door and cuts the boss in half. with his knife shoe. Then he tells the girl, "I killed him for you," and says, "I'll just hit you instead." She tries to fight him, but Itchi accidentally slits her throat. The gang has another meeting, and they tell Kakihara that him and all his men are kicked out because of their intense methods. He leaves and tells them he's taking over another gang. We come to learn that the guy from the club knew Itchi and was actually controlling him by feeding him false memories about a girl who was raped because she tried saving him from his bullies. But Itchi tells him that he wanted to rape her too. There is some crazy stuff in this movie and is also real disturbing, but it is actually a live action of the manga Itchi the Killer. Yeah, anyways, Kakihara is torturing a new guy, but this time has help from Karen. She confesses her love to him, asking to be his girl, while the guy screams in pain. Kinda sweet. Cut to Itchi right in the middle of a couple of kids picking on a boy. He stands and does nothing until one of the kids kicks his bike down, causing Itchi to kick him down, then leaves. Itchi is being told to kill a room full of guys that are supposedly his bullies in the past. Itchi barges in and gruesomely murders everyone. He doesn't want to kill, but he is being manipulated and used as a hitman. After the mass murder, he runs into the little boy who was being bullied. Kakihara checks out the room with the rest of the group, but everyone leaves terrified, besides Kakihara and the bodyguard. We come to find out the bodyguard and the little boy are related. The bodyguard being his father, he tells him if anything happens to him, he needs to go live with his mom. But of course, the little boy disagrees. The next day, Itchi and his manipulator are talking. Itchi tells him he doesn't want to kill, and he gets very mad. He yells he'll never be a man. Itchi stands up and says that his you-know-what is standing up, and then runs out of the room. Kakihara begins to anticipate finding out who Itchi is, admiring his work. Itchi's manipulator is playing a board game with Kakihara's ex-girlfriend, who he didn't accept because she wouldn't beat him up as much as he wanted. Like, bro. Anyways, the guy ends up telling her how he was able to manipulate Itchi into killing. Turns out the whole story of him being bullied and the girl getting assaulted after trying to help him is not true at all. Instead, Itchi lost some of his memories after killing his parents, and he convinced himself that he was bullied. So his boss is able to feed him stories whenever he needs to get a job done, but says he overdid it with the rape story, because Itchi got excited over it. The girl gets worried and asks if she's under any hypnosis too, which he says no. After torturing a girl, cutting her nipples, and beating her up, Kakihara moves on to his next victim, and in the middle of the fight, he removes his piercings that we now know were there to keep his mouth shut. He bites his entire hand. The next day, Karen purposely hits Itchi with her car, and we see exactly what kind of person Itchi is because he gets right up and walks away. But she proceeds to get his attention by calling out his name and claiming she's the girl who tried to help him when he was getting bullied. They continue to talk. She explains that she likes being abused and goes into detail of what she wants men to do to her, and even goes as far to say that she wanted Itchi to rape her too. This excites him. He puts on his knife shoe and tells her he will abuse her. She then starts to freak out, saying she was lying. I don't know what she thought was gonna happen. He cuts off her foot, then her neck. Dude's got game for real. Kakihara continues to torture people. I mean, it's hard to keep up with this guy. He then gets a call telling him Itchi is coming for him. While this is going on, one of the guys decides to step out and catches Itchi's boss. He chases after him and they begin to fight. Then all of a sudden, he takes off his jacket and this dude is built. Has got the ultimate sleeper build. It's actually crazy. It's pretty obvious his face is just edited on the body, but it's great nonetheless. He leaves his dead body at the front of the door, then calls Itchi, feeding him the bully story so he can go and kill Kakihara. Now, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Itchi and Kakihara's battle. Place your votes down in the comments, folks. The final scene. Itchi and Kakihara end up on the roof. Before Itchi can kill him, the bodyguard calls him and pulls his gun out. Itchi starts to ask why he would do that. Turns out they are actually brothers. Itchi approaches the bodyguard scared. He shoots Itchi, and he gets angry and kills him right in front of his son. Itchi apologizes to the little boy, then cries. Kakihara tries to get him to get up and fight, but to no avail. Itchi continues to cry while the boy kicks him. Kakihara is saddened by disappointment. He looks back up to see Itchi staring at him with the little boy's head in his hand. He goes after Kakihara, knocking him off the roof, falling to his death. Only he didn't die, and the boss hung himself. Then we see the bodyguard's son, only older, and I thought he was supposed to be dead, but I guess he's not. The ending is really confusing, and I don't know what to make of that. But that's literally it. You don't watch this movie for its plot, but it's definitely interesting. And if you like the sick and twisted, there's a whole bunch I left out. This movie is free to watch on Tubi, like most of the movies I review. I enjoyed watching this for the grotesque kills and, like I said, the style. But it's not something I would watch again. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe because there's more to come. Till then.